Hi, this is Jason from HP Customer Care. I want to welcome you to our how-to video series that we're holding in conjunction with our HP Expert Day that's happening today, May 14th. I've brought a few experts along with me. I've got Bill, Randy, and Kevin, and we're going to talk about system recovery, system refresh, system restore, basically the different things that you can do when your computer isn't working the way you're expecting it to be, and to try and recover it and make it better. If you have a question for us, feel free to ask us in the comments field in the YouTube stream. Otherwise, if you have access to Twitter, you can tweet questions to us at the hashtag HP Expert Day. And if you are here but really looking for information on a different subject, be sure to join the conversation that's taking place on our consumer support forums at hp.com/expert day. So guys, I want to welcome you. Thanks for joining. I have to say that I've had experience in my lifetime as a computer owner of having that uncomfortable situation where things just really aren't working right. You feel like you've tried everything, and now you're going to have to go down the path of trying to restore your computer or recover it to a previous state. It's probably one of the more scary things that can happen as a computer owner. I'm hoping that today we can kind of demystify some of the options. There's a lot of options out there when you get into this situation. But to start off, I think probably we should emphasize the importance of backing up and maybe a couple simple ways to do that.
Absolutely. So when we're talking about saving your computer from ruin and it's not working right, it's all about the upfront preparation so that you don't get to a spot where you're no longer able to save yourself. So, it's all about preparation, and backing up your files up front, is very important. If you've got your video, if you've ever lost photos, family photos, you know that backup is, life or death at your house. So I still have not lived down when I had a drive die, and I learned to back up the hard way. That okay, you lose it for real when it's gone. So having another system, having another hard drive, backing up is something that you're going to do before you recover. It's not necessarily part of the recovery or the restore.
Great. So I think we agree on the importance. There's lots of information out on the web that you can find out about backing up. Obviously, one of the easiest ways is to buy an external hard drive and then using one of the multitude of programs that allows you to do that. So we're not going to go deep on backing up today, other than to say you should definitely do it.
Right. And you can do it as a step, as you'll see it come up. As we talk through here, you're going to see the backup options come up, because HP tries to help you before you go down each step, saying, come on, really you should probably do this backup. So we're mentioning it now because it's something you want to do before you actually go to any of these other options.
So one of the other, you mentioned preparation. One of the things that was really different for me when I bought a PC recently is it didn't come with those discs. And I seem to remember back in the day, your computer always came with a set of discs that if you ever got in trouble, you pop the disc in and you're able to restore it to factory settings. In this case, it's on my hard drive in a separate area, and it would ask me every now and then, hey, do you want to burn, do you want to make a copy of your backup disk? And I have to admit, I'd usually say delay or later or not now.
That's very common.
Yeah. So I see you've brought some that look like they've been made here. Can you talk to me about that? If I have it on my computer, why do I need discs? What would the point of that be?
The biggest reason is why you make recovery disks is to recover your PC from a catastrophic failure.
Okay.
And your hard drive could be that point of catastrophic failure. So if your hard drive dies, the recovery partition, or that section on your hard drive that has the recovery data on it, is gone too.
Right. So it's about survival. Like I said, it's like sometimes you need to have other items. So it may not seem like it's important now, but when you run into the specific situation like your hard drive's dead, or you put in a new hard drive, that's the only way that's going to save you. So it may not seem all that important when you're clicking delay or move, but if you died the next day, if your computer dies the next day, you're going to be going, oh man, why did I not do that?
Yeah, the hard drives, a lot of the hard drives today are mechanical, right? They spin,
right?
And so they eventually will. They're pretty amazing devices, but they will eventually die out because they are mechanical.
Great. So we've kind of talked about some of the precautionary steps, so backing up, creating recovery media. I think one of the things that I also think about when usually something is really wrong with my computer when I'm to that point of wanting to refresh it or restore it or get it back to original settings. But I think when I talk to people about this, there's instant fear because they're going to lose all their data. And so, you know, in the case where maybe somebody didn't back up, or they're, you know, what are the different steps that we can take to try and repair the symptoms we're having on our computer, but maybe with the least amount of impact?
Well, for me, it's always it depends on the situation, right? If you're just getting an annoying error message whenever you are using one particular piece of software, then it's probably that one particular piece of software is not compatible with some other piece on your system, so you may have to just uninstall it and reinstall it, right?
Okay.
But usually the tools that I use in this order would be, you do a Microsoft System Restore,
Okay.
and that will go back to a date and time when you knew that your computer was working fine, right? So try that first. It's the least invasive, and you don't destroy any data or anything like that. If that doesn't work, then you can do a Microsoft Refresh. That's the key term there, refresh.
Okay.
And what that does is that kind of replaces all the system files back to, you know, their state that they were first in case some virus got in there and chewed on them or something. And then if that didn't work, right, then I would do a full-on HP recovery. Of course, backing up everything, you know, all of my important files first. So it's about those major three things: system restore, refresh, HP recovery.
It's about the steps that you're willing to take to fix something. So when you're trying to fix any problem, you don't just jump to one solution and expect it. It's really based on either your individual issues or what you know, what you're willing to do. If you want to jump straight to recovery, you may lose all your other stuff, and that's a more drastic step. But if it's just, hey, Windows update, or some update ran over the night, and now I turn my computer on and it's not acting correctly, you can use Windows System Restore to roll it back to the same settings it had before that update installed.
So it's funny you mention that, because I think that's a very real situation in my house where, you know, one of my family members will come to me and say, I turned the computer on this morning and all of a sudden it's doing something weird. Why would something change while my computer's off? That's sort of a, you know, because that's the first thing to say. I didn't do anything.
You have auto updates. So what you have is auto updates.
Right. So Microsoft, HP, your virus protection program, they're all looking for updates all the time.
Okay.
And they're going to install. Now, one of the things that Windows does now is it can delay the reboot that's required for installation of updates. And if it delays it long enough, it'll actually force a restart. So you may not have done anything to the PC for a week, and the next day that happens. So normally something has changed. You just have to find out what it is. And like what Kevin was saying, if what the effort you want to put into it is directly proportional to, you know, how fast you want to fix the issue.
Sure.
So if you just want it back the way it was, don't want to do a lot of troubleshooting, you can try that System Restore.
So maybe let's walk through those sort of one at a time. And so the idea of System Restore is, so it's, you know, today's Wednesday, I woke up, my computer's not acting the way that I expect it to, but I think when I used it on Saturday, it was working fine. So now what I want to do is go back in time and revert it to basically Saturday or some previous version.
So we're going to do one step prior to that.
Okay.
So what Randy was saying first was he was saying he goes into application. He might remove an application that's causing that error message.
So it's a specific.
We'll touch that one first.
It happens in a specific situation. You're trying to address just that symptom.
Just that one.
Okay.
So
great.
Let's go down to the PC and we'll show you the
different options.
Options that we have. So, So what we're going to do is we're going to launch the HP application, or excuse me, the HP Recovery Manager, if I can get this the words right. And inside our Recovery Manager, we have a couple of different things that we can do. So first, we're going to go into the Windows Start menu and just type in Recovery, and it'll start popping up on the side there. And there's the Recovery Manager. And there's two options. There's the Create Recovery Disks, and there's Recovery. And we're going to go into Recovery Manager, and we'll say yes to the
User Account Controls.
User Account Controls. And what this is going to do is it'll open up the HP Recovery Manager, and we're going to be looking over at these options here. And this is where you can look for if you need help immediately. We have the first one is the software program reinstallation, and this is where if you're having an issue with an application that came with your PC, remember this is only the ones that came with your PC, you can reinstall them from here.
Yep.
If it did not come with your PC, then you have to use the software installation media that you bought. Like if you went out and you bought a game and it's always messing up, then you would uninstall it and then use the software installation media or the download from the web or whatever that you got from it.
Yep. This is just the HP applications that run there.
Right.
So if you have like a webcam on your computer, you can come in and reinstall UCam from here that was already there.
Right. So we're going to go into this and show you what actually happens here. Is it'll open up, and welcome to the application, software application program reinstallation, and it'll give you a list here of the different apps that you can install.
So this is a list of the programs that were installed on the computer when I got it.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And they're usually tied to your major functions like your disk drive. So you've got create the CD, you see CyberLink, and so those major functions are the ones you'll see. You probably won't find as many of the games and all of that in there.
Right. So that if you're trying to reinstall something you've installed, then they're not going to be here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go back, and we're going to not do the software, but if we had a driver, right? So if you went out on the web and you downloaded the latest driver, and that driver was causing you issues, you can go back to a previous version of the driver, the original one, and what we're looking at here is the hardware driver reinstallation. So now, again, this is for desktop PCs. Similar screens are the same for notebook computers as well.
Yep.
And so what we're going to do here is we'll reinstall one of the drivers, and these are the drivers that came with the PC out of the box. So you can reinstall a graphics driver, you can look for wireless and audio card network.
Just on the side, I've had pretty good luck reinstalling the wireless driver on a lot of notebooks. That tends to get a lot of problems resolved if you're having wireless network problems. Come in here and reinstall that guy. And
So this ties to what we said earlier. It's really based on the scenario that you're having. If wireless is not working all the time, you probably don't need to do a full HP system recovery just yet. You might try this step of reinstalling the original driver that came with that device and see if that makes it work as it first started.
Great example. So guys, what are some tips and tricks to be able to tell whether it's an application problem or a driver problem? I think might be hard to tell for the average person.
I think one of the things that you want to keep in mind when you're looking for that is what is the error message that you'd receive, or what are you doing during the time that you are having or experiencing that issue.
Okay.
Is it only when you open up this application?
Right.
Is it only when you're trying to access the web? Is it only at a certain time?
Okay.
So that's the key.
Right, and like for instance, if you're trying to use your webcam and you go to open UCam and it looks like it's loading, then just disappears and doesn't load, and you're going, okay, so that's more probably the application. But if you open up UCam and then where it would normally show your camera back at you, but instead it says no image available, now you're looking more at probably the reinstalling the driver or some other kind of conflict. It's not the software necessarily, the app.
Yeah. A big one and a scary one is if you all of a sudden, if you're not connected to the internet, and then when you go to connect to the internet, then all of a sudden all these problems magically appear. That's the first symptom that you probably have some nasties on there, some viruses.
Viruses.
And you might want to think about doing a full HP recovery on that.
Okay.
If everything's not working, lots of problems. That's when you're starting to look at those more permanent.
So that's a great point, and probably one that we overlooked, right? We talked about the preparation of backing up. We talked about the preparation of having, recovery disks made. You have to have antivirus on your computer. You have to, and it has to be updating regularly and staying updated. There's just no way around it. So
you could potentially be infecting other people on the internet too if you don't have antivirus.
Right. Great. All right. So Bill, I'm going to turn it back to you. I think you were walking us through sort of the options to fix things, and it looked like HP was kind enough to offer them in the order of sort of least impact to greatest impact. Yeah.
Good eye. You know.
Yeah. And that's really what they're doing is in our recovery manager. what you're going to see next is what you were referring to, Jason, is the we're going to go back here, the Microsoft System Restore. So we're going to go back to the main menu, and what we're going to do is actually over on this side.
On the right side.
So this is this
Right
other part
side.
where we talk about before your problems happen. These are the precaution areas.
Let's see if I can. Actually, it's on the other side. I was going to show the recovery media. It's over on here, and there it is. Microsoft System Restore is the next one in line.
So this is the one that takes us to a point back in time.
Yes.
Right.
So how do you know what point in time you can go to?
So this is kind of the preparation work. You want to set a Microsoft System Restore point. And most of the time, it's not all the time, I've noticed, but whenever you install Windows updates, there's usually a restore point
Right.
before you do the update. So you can go back to before you updated.
Okay.
Windows sets those times for the
Right.
most part. I mean,
Okay.
unless you shut it off or tell it not to, or some other settings. But for the most part,
Mhm.
especially newer PCs, Windows 8 and all that, they're going to be set to give you almost every time it successfully goes
Right.
through, it'll give you an option.
And one thing to keep in mind is if you're preparing for disaster and your PC is running really, really good, set a restore point. You know that it's running well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Set a restore point so that you can go
Yeah.
back to that.
Yeah, you can
and,
set them manually.
and you can name what that restore point is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I actually did that here. So we're going to go to Microsoft System Restore,
Okay.
and then it's basically going to say, you're going to use restore point, and we'll say next, and we're going to go into the restore point. So it's actually going to look for any restore points that I create or that have been created on this, and here we go. And this basically is telling us that we're going to restore some to an earlier time. And I have two restore points here. I have one that I set yesterday, and it was first boot. I named it first boot. I named it that. The second one is after Windows Update. I ran Windows Update, and it was running just fine. I and I created another restore point. Now, if there's other updates that are run and restore points saved, they'll be listed in this list. If you don't have any restore points, we're
This
done.
is not your option.
This is not your option.
This is not the option you're looking for.
So Bill, I got to tell you, if I'm a viewer watching this conversation right now, and my computer is running well, I'm thinking, how do I set a restore point?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and we can show you.
can we take a second to do
We
that?
certainly can.
So while you get ready for that, I just want to welcome anyone who's just tuning in. We're in the middle of our how-to video series. We're talking about refresh, restore, recovery, the different options you have to fix your computer when something is really gone wrong, typically. And we're talking you through each one of those steps. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments box on YouTube, or if you have access to Twitter, you can ask a question using the hashtag #HPExpertDay. We're having this how-to video series in conjunction with our consumer support forum, Expert Day. So if we're not hitting on the questions that are most important to you, or maybe you have a completely different topic, be sure to visit the support forums at hp.com/Expert Day. So Bill, let's talk about setting a restore point, and maybe we can zoom back in on the computer.
So armed only with a keyboard and mouse, I'll show you how to do that. So what we're going to do is find the mouse on my screen here. We're
Maybe
going to hit
And
that.
let's go back to the
There we
Windows
go.
test. There you go. And just type in create restore point, can't you?
Yes, we can. I just got to find them. There's the mouse. Okay. So what we're going to do is you can type in restore point, and it will, or restore, and it'll pull up different options that you can do. So
Create-
because I can't read that
It's
very
at
well.
the bottom.
At
It's
the
your
very
last
bottom,
one.
it says create a restore point.
Yep.
Thank you. I'm blind.
Now, I noticed you're in Windows 8. Can you also type restore in Windows 7? You know.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. You can do the search there too. What another way to do this, and I'm going to, I can show that too, is if you go into System Properties, we're going to go down to the Start window or the Start menu down here. This is 8.1, and I'm going to right-click down here, and a menu pops up. and there's the system folder right there. You can select system, and another window will open up right in the middle. And then we're going to go over here on this side. And what you're going to see here is basically these are going to be the different settings that you can go. You can select system protection, and guess what? It opens up the window that was opened here. Now, Windows 7, you can right-click on My Computer or Computer and select Properties, and it'll take you to that same first screen.
And now, you can click the Start button and go to the search as well. Windows 7 has this. It's just in a different. You just can't start typing on the screen. You have to click the Start button, and then there's the search bar, and then you can search the same things.
Great.
Then the very last selection is Create a Restore Point, and that's it. When you click on Create, it'll ask you to name it, and you type in
How-to video series.
It's going to go Expert Days.
Expert Day. All right.
Right. And then once you click on Create, it'll take a little while to create it. About 5 to 10 minutes.
Great.
And then it'll show up in those options like he had.
Yes.
Excellent. So now we've helped anyone watching figure out how to set a restore point. So good real-time tip and trick for us
There you
here.
go.
So let's take you back here. I think you were going through again order of magnitude ways to to fix your computer. We were talking about the restore option, and we saw some previous restore points that were options for us. Let's say that is not an option for us, although you did have some. What would be the next step that we could do?
Next step is going to be a system refresh.
Okay.
And we have those options available too, but they actually reboot the PC and take you out to a different environment and boot from our recovery partition that has the Windows files on it as well.
Right, so depending on your operating system. So Windows 7, I think, has some of the features, and Windows 8 also has some refresh or the ability to save your system. But HP, across all of the different operating systems, allows, like Bill said, to go back in before the operating system and do all of that recovery manager stuff.
It's easy to open it up, though. You just go from the Start screen in Windows 8 or from this search box in Windows 7. You have to click Start Search, just type refresh. Refresh your PC.
So guys, we have a couple questions. One of the things was on the recovery media. So it says if I have a Windows 8 PC and I upgrade to Windows 8.1, which I think you were just talking about, can I create recovery disks for 8.1, or do I get recovery disks for only Windows 8? How does that work?
So go ahead, Randy.
This is the easy one. We all
The
want to
answer
jump
is,
on it.
well, no. Your recovery disks are for a specific operating system. In this case, it'd be Windows 8.
It's what first turned on.
So it
your
will
computer.
return you back to the state the computer was in when you bought it.
Yeah. You would have to then re-update to Windows 8.
So you have to update again.
Yes.
Okay, great. The next question is will the recovery disk also save like my pictures and email and stuff like that? What does the recovery disk do?
So the recovery media is actually an image that comes from the factory. So it's the same. It's a set of disks that contain the image that was on your PC when you first unboxed it. That means that none of your pictures are on it.
Right.
None of your videos, none of your documents. They're not
So
there.
again, returning it to the state when you first
Right.
turned it on.
It's recovering the software, not your files, and that's again back to why we said back them up or have a backup all the time, or before at that very early stage, make sure you have another solution for your files.
Right. There's tools out there for backup and recovery that allow you to basically make an image of your hard drive, so that if you do fail, if the hard drive fails and you just want to redo that image, there's software that'll do that for you. The HP Recovery Manager does not.
Okay.
But Windows 8 does have that ability.
And Windows 7.
And Windows 7
And
as well, where you can
specific
do a
versions of
system
those.
image creation. Specific
Right.
versions, not all versions of those, but yeah.
System image creation utility, and I think that's part of MS Backup.
So
If you type MS
recovery
Backup, you can create the entire image onto a set of disks.
But
they're
recovery
not-
media from HP doesn't.
Just
If you
gets you
did
back
just
to-
that system configuration or that system image, that would. But
All right.
We have a support article on it on HP.com. If you
Yeah,
type-
please tell us.
Yes, go to HP.com, in the upper right-hand corner, search on the operating system and creating a system image.
Okay. So let's talk system refresh. I think that's where we're going.
That's
next.
where we were going. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the same recovery manager again, and I'm just going to go ahead and hit the Windows key and hit that
And
key.
go back down to.
Back down. I'm looking at myself in the mirror. Yeah.
There we go.
And I'm just going to type in recovery, and it's going to show up in the top corner over here. Did I type in recovery correctly?
No.
No, I didn't. Too fast. Recovery
There you
manager. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and select recovery manager, and it will relaunch. And I got to find my mouse.
User account control. There it is.
There it is. Say yes to it, and this will open Recovery Manager. And in Recovery Manager, we're going to go, there is a system recovery that we're going to select here.
Dun, dun, dun.
And what we're going to do is select yes to reboot. Now, all this is saying, you know, you're going to reset this to factory defaults, and that's going to wipe out all your data, is basically what all that stuff said. Now we're going to restart, and it's going to start into the, move over to the recovery partition and boot from there, and then we'll have a lot of other options there, and that refresh is one of them.
And when he says the recovery partition, back to what you asked earlier, Jason, about the hard drive versus the disks. When we're saying partition, it's a separate section off the hard drive where all the files, and so we're not working within the operating system at this point. We're in a whole different section of.
Right. It's for protection, so it's more protected than like I don't know, from viruses and stuff.
Right.
Where a virus might chew on your main boot partition, but the HP partition is kind of sitting off protected, so that you can get back.
Yeah, recovery is protected. The rest of the hard drive may get a virus.
And the hard drive recovery is much faster than disks. It's much
Yes.
better.
Yeah, and that's a
If
good
you
thing to kind of talk about right here is recovery from disk or even from a USB drive that we have here, a USB thumb drive. You're going to have different times required for different versions of that recovery. Right? So a recovery from the hard drive that we're going to show here is about 20 minutes. It depends, but it's about 20 minutes. Recovery from disk, depending on how fast you can actually swap those disks in and out, you'll see about 30 minutes to an hour.
Mm.
And then the recovery from what we call support sent disks, which are these ones here that we got. Basically, those ones are going to take a lot longer because they have to inspect the PC and do something called cooking. We call it a cooking process back in the lab. So, and that one's going to take about 3 hours, depending on how fast you go, right?
Right.
So, those are all considerations to keep in mind. But
Let
They
them
do the
keep
same
running
thing.
though. Put them in. If they're sitting
Yeah.
there running, and it seems like, hey, it's been sitting here for an hour, keep it
Mhm.
running. Let it go until you're really
Yeah.
sure that okay.
follow the instructions.
Thanks, Kevin. That's actually one of the questions, which is, a user is saying they've done this before and it's taking a really long time. When do you know when to start over? And so I think what you're saying is, when you do get to this point, allow yourself a lot of extra time because you want to let it run
Right.
its course.
That's the key. Is if a recovery appears to be failing, you might have a hardware issue too, and that might be why you have to run this recovery, is because something else is happening on your system. And so you want to we have diags that are on the PC that'll help you identify where that hardware failure could possibly
Right.
be.
Let it try and keep
Diags-
going.
Diags equals
Diagnostics.
diagnostic testing
Yeah.
software.
But don't
Yeah.
jump to that until after you've let it try and run. But
Right.
that's where you ask how long. If it's been 3 hours, I would still let it go another couple. I mean, it doesn't hurt you to let it go that much longer.
A good rule of thumb.
Versus-
Good rule of thumb is, I said about 20 minutes for the disk based or the hard drive based. Then if you created the recovery media, it's about an hour to hour and a half, and then the HP support media is 3 hours. Do 100%, right? So 100% longer. So if it's taken 30 minutes,
Give it
on
60.
give it 60. If it's taken an hour and a half, give it 3. If it's 3, give it 6.
Great. I think the computer should be back up and we can move on to our next step.
So this is basically what we're seeing, and I need binoculars.
And
But,
help immediately.
So here is the I need help immediately. This is a system recovery option here. If we go over to the the other side, you'll see what the other option is like to take precautions. Look what we got here, a file backup program. Right?
That's like we kept saying, we're trying before you hit that other side, and if you haven't backed up, do it now.
Right. Now I wanted to show you this one because it's important there too.
One quick thing to say though too, if you have a virus, don't back up all of your files that have the virus. Hopefully you've backed up before you had that virus, because you might be backing up files that have infection.
Right. So keep that in mind. You still would want to back up, but you want to isolate your backup so that it's not, if you think you have a virus, back it up, but make sure that you inspect those files before you put them back on.
Run your virus scanner on your files and on your things. That's what I was trying to get to.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that happen too. Somebody had a virus, ran recovery, and then they put their backup back on, and then they're saying, "No, it's got a virus again. Did the recovery keep the?" No, it was your backed up files. They were infected. You reinstalled them.
Right.
So what this one will do then, we'll go back over to the other side. This is your system recovery. Now, we booted into here, and this is just going to restore your computer using the HP recovery. We wanted to show the Microsoft system refresh, so we're going to actually reboot the PC one more time. But what we're going to show here is basically this is where you can do your system restore. Now, I wanted to boot into here first just to show this, but there's your recover without backing up your files. If you select the one where you want to back up your files first, it'll take you to the backup, and you'll do the backup. This one will take you right into the recovery.
And the backup allows you to save some of your personal files.
It lets you select which folders, which file types, things like that you want to back up.
And that may not be possible if your hard drive's toast, right? I mean, for the most part.
Well, if your hard drive's toast, you're not in this application, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry, the data on your hard drive. If it's too far gone, you might not be able to back up all your files.
Exactly. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click this. It's going to say we're going to reboot. And I'm going to say yes to reboot, and I'm going to tap the escape key on my keyboard. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I want to bring up this menu here. So we're doing the, basically we're going to select F11, which is System Recovery. It's going to take us into the same section, but it's going to boot to the recovery partition from a outside standpoint. It's not going to take us to the HP section yet. It's going to use Microsoft's first to get us there. And that's where our system refresh is.
Great. So while we're waiting for the computer to restart here, I just want to welcome any new viewers who are checking out this live how-to video series that we're doing in conjunction with our May 14th HP Expert Day. If you have a question for us, feel free to ask it in the comments on the YouTube stream. If you have access to Twitter, you can ask us a question using the hashtag HP Expert Day. And if you have a question maybe on a different support topic, or we're not getting to what you're looking for, please join the conversation at our HP Consumer Support Forums. The easiest way to get there today is hp.com/Expert Day. And so we're talking about Microsoft System Refresh, and Bill's about to demo that for us. If we can pull the computer up again, we'll continue on with our journey here.
Yep. So there's a lot of options here that you can look at, but what we're after is just the troubleshoot option. So we're going to select troubleshoot, and what we're going to do here is here are all the Microsoft options. Right? So we have refresh your PC, which is basically if your PC is not running very well, you can refresh it without losing your files. Right? Yep. So that's what that option is there. And that's basically just reinstalling the OS. The reset your PC is also a Microsoft option that basically does the same thing as the HP Recovery Manager, wipes everything off and resets your PC completely to the factory default. Okay, so those two options are the two that you have. Once I make those selections, it's basically going to take off and run here. So we'll click on refresh. This is the PC I want to refresh and the administrative account that I have set up on it. And the next one here, I have to type in a password, and then it'll go. So I'm not going to type in the password and go because I don't want to refresh right now. This one will take, depending on what the refresh requires, could take quite a while, 3-4 hours sometimes.
And it depends on how many files you have, how much software, how much all of that
Yep.
stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I don't know if we've ever really defined exactly what a HP system recovery does, because that's the final step. So we've done all of these things now, right?
Yep.
Try to system restore, there's the refresh. If it's still having problems, then maybe we're talking an HP recovery. Like maybe that virus was a little too nasty. Now we have to totally wipe everything clean, and it'll put it back, as Bill said, back to the original factory condition.
Yeah, when you're out of Microsoft options as well. So the hard drive's not working, you can't access that screen.
It
something.
will resolve.
It's one of these.
Yeah, it will resolve any software issue that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But it puts it all the way back, and you lose everything.
You have to reinstall everything you installed since.
The important thing about the recovery as well is when you're looking at a virus, right? So we've been mentioning that a lot. Really, the only way to get rid of a virus completely is to wipe the hard drive out, just completely eliminate any possibility of it coming back. Now, that goes to the HP recovery partition too. You're not positive that the virus didn't get to the recovery partition, so your disks that you backed up with would be a really good solution in that case. So if you have the recovery media, then use it in that situation. I wouldn't recommend doing the disk-based recovery.
I heartily agree.
Yes.
Great. Well, we have, I think you've done a great job of running through the different options. We have a couple questions. One is, what happens if I lose my recovery media? What are my options there?
So actually, I was going to say we can also talk to that too, depending on how old your computer is. So if it's within the last several years, you can generally, and depending on your country or region, generally order them from HP.
Okay.
So if you go out to hp.com, put in your model number and go to the product support page, and then go to the software and driver option from there. There will be, you select your operating system that shipped with it, and it'll show you if you can order recovery media. And then you just click that, follow it, and then you would order and get something that looks like this.
Now, I know another question that didn't come in today, but it comes up often. Can I use somebody else's recovery disk?
Ooh.
It
Only
depends.
if they have the exact same model PC with all the exact same stuff on it.
Okay. Okay. So probably not, unless
very
you
rare,
and your
unless
buddy
you-
bought
yes.
at the same time.
And not the same series, not like a 2500 series. No, it would have to be like the 25021XT, the exact model.
Right,
All
and that's important. What we look for really is the build ID. There's a build ID on the recovery media, and current recovery media can be used across quite a few different PCs, but they have to have the exact same build ID.
And one other thing on the ordering. So you can order and get physical media. I hear often, can I download recovery media? Can I download my image? Can I download that? And the answer is no. There's licensing issues plus the bandwidth. Could you imagine these things are DVDs? So downloading,
Multiple gig
16 gigs on your internet's going to drown you and the servers all day long.
And you may be able to find them on like auction sites or something
Right.
if you're having a hard time and you really have lost them. Another thing is protect these guys. These are really important. This is your if you don't have them around and you could suffer a catastrophic failure, you need them. And so one of the things that you definitely don't want to do is lay them out in the sun, because sunshine will destroy optical media. And that's something that's actually fairly common. They leave them on the desk where the sun hits the desk, and store them in a protective container someplace safe in the dark, and then they'll last longer.
And not regarding getting the media, but we probably didn't mention as well, depending on your operating system, you can still also go to the website, search for running HP recovery in Windows XP, HP recovery in Windows 8, and everything we've talked about and shown here, if you want to go and do it again, don't have to rely on us talking about it throughout it. You can go with the step-by-step. The documents are out there and walk you through it.
Great. Well, guys, thanks for covering all of the steps and demystifying the differences. I think they're all named pretty similar.
Yeah.
Refresh,
It can be
restore,
confusing.
recover. It's definitely confusing. I think you guys have done a great job of highlighting the differences there. This video, perhaps you joined later or you're only catching the tail end of it, will be posted to our HP support channel. So go ahead and visit youtube.com/HP support. If you have a question that's maybe on a different topic or we didn't get to what you were looking for, be sure to join the conversation at our HP Consumer Support forums. There's two ways to get there. The easy way is to go to hp.com, click on the support tab at the top, and join the conversation for the forums. Or we have a shortcut today at hp.com/expert day. A lot of people like these three gentlemen here are standing by on the forums to answer questions, along with a lot of great volunteers. So I want to thank you guys for your time today and thorough explanation, and hope you, the viewer, enjoyed it, and we'll talk to all of you guys again soon.
Thanks.
Thanks
For watching.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
See you in the forums.